to where she was. She thought back to the basement, to what had happened, to what she had seen, allowing it to fully sink in for the first time. What would have happened had she not run? Gagging, she rolled onto her side and threw up into the bush. Backhanding spit from her mouth, she glanced warily around. Had he heard? There was no sound other than the whispering trees and her ragged breathing. Gingerly, she rolled over and started to crawl out of the bushes, knowing she had to get out of there before he came back. Climbing to her feet, she put pressure on her ankle, knowing before the blast of shooting pain she had sprained it or worse. Grimacing, she felt her way through the branches, trying to find a path. Behind her came a crunch. Him! Choking down on a sob, she thrashed her way madly through the trees, ignoring the white-hot pain each time her busted ankle hit the ground. In the distance, she heard the low roar of an engine. A car? Was she near a road? Forcing herself forward, she could make out the low beam of headlights ahead. Behind her, rough hands grabbed at her wrist, yanking her back. She yelped, kicking out and managing to wrench herself free. Dragging her bad ankle behind her, she stumbled forward through the trees to the road she could now see ahead. Missing her footing on the embankment, she tripped again, this time falling into the road and straight into the path of the oncoming car. The last thing she was aware of was the thud as her body hit the front grille.
From the darkness of the trees, the man watched as the car skidded to a halt in front of the limp body lying in the road. The problem had taken care of itself. A grim smile playing on his lips, he turned and started to make his way back through the trees. He needed to get back to the house, back to his work, and he didn't want to keep his other guest waiting.
1. Tired from her bar shift, Amy Gallaty cursed herself for the 100th time for agreeing to babysit her friend's dog. She could hear Huckleberry's pitiful whining the second the elevator opened on her floor, and was almost sent flying as she opened her apartment door. It was gone, too. Her shift had been long, and she wanted nothing more than to crawl into bed. She doubted Huckleberry would make it through till morning without needing to empty his bladder, though, and so reluctantly she fetched the leash. 10 minutes round the block, and she'd be done. Spotting the leash, Huckleberry let out a joyful bark. Hush! The disobedient collie gave her a lopsided grin and started panting with excitement as she hooked it onto his collar. Amy made a mental note to have words with Ryan about taking his pooch on a training course when he returned from Europe. Although the night was warm, she was dismayed to feel a few spits of rain as they exited the apartment building. Typical. Huckleberry's 10-minute walk around the block was about to get cut to a quick stroll to the end of the street. Willing him to hurry up and pee, Amy hurried along behind him, oblivious to the pair of eyes watching her from the car parked across from her apartment.
Victor Boaz finished his shift at 11, and instead of sensibly heading straight home to bed, he had been persuaded by a couple of the other officers to join them for a beer. It was a foolish move. Pastor Ralph had finally agreed to let him help set up before Sunday service, and he was supposed to be at the church early the next morning. He had been trying to get in on this gig for ages and didn't want to screw it up. This was his big chance to impress Brooke Michaels. So far, she had been friendly, but had kept her distance. When she saw how seriously he was taking this church stuff and helping her dad, maybe she would finally agree to go out with him. As for Pastor Ralph, Vic was sure he would approve of him dating his daughter. Vic was a police officer who had embraced his religious side. What was there not to like? It was almost 2 when he finally left the bar. Although he had only had 1 beer, he'd got caught up shooting the breeze, flirting with the new barmaid, and playing pool with the guys. He gave a couple of them a lift home, and was swinging his car around for the journey back to his townhouse, groaning at the time and knowing he was never going to be able to drag himself out of bed in 3 hours, when he had an idea. Pastor Ralph had given him the keys to the church. What difference would it make if he set up tonight instead of in the morning?